Reddit user Ambalam712 shared footage from their home security camera recorded at 3:24 a.m. on April 17, 2026. Outside their front door, a figure appeared standing on the porch facing directly toward the entrance. It stayed completely still, positioned only a few feet away from the door as if watching the house. It looked like a woman with dark, deep-set eyes, giving it an unnatural appearance. Some commenters pointed out what looked like a floating broom in the background behind her, suggesting it could be some kind of witch-like figure. Others believe it might simply be a woman under the influence, possibly wearing dark sunglasses. But imagine seeing this on your camera. It would be terrifying. So far, the user hasn't been able to identify who or what it was. Could it be a witch? If I saw this footage on my Ring doorbell, I honestly would have been in complete shock. In Florida, a Ring doorbell camera captured a man approaching a family home in the middle of the night while carrying what appeared to be a pitchfork and an axe. At first, he slowly walked toward the front door. But then, suddenly, he started screaming and aggressively attacking the camera. What makes the footage even more disturbing is the family inside the house was reportedly asleep the entire time and completely unaware of what was happening just outside their front door. Thankfully, reports later stated that the suspect was eventually taken into custody. And luckily, no one inside the home was harmed during the incident. In Texas, during the start of a new school year, a disturbing attempted abduction was captured on camera, raising concern among parents and local communities. According to reports, a group of young boys had been playing outside when two vehicles suddenly pulled up nearby. Moments later, a man stepped out and allegedly tried to lure the children toward a white SUV, telling them to get inside the vehicle.
You asked me to come in! Someone trying to kidnap Jay!
Thankfully, the boys immediately recognized something was wrong and ran while yelling for help. One of the children managed to alert his mother, who rushed outside and began recording part of the situation herself. She even managed to capture the suspect's license plate before the vehicle left the area.
Jonathan, Ben! Road!
Authorities later confirmed they were investigating the incident and reminded parents to speak with their children about stranger safety, especially near bus stops and walking routes to school. Situations like this are terrifying to think about. Thankfully, the children reacted quickly and managed to get away safely. A home surveillance camera overlooking a quiet road in Honduras recorded something unusual late at night. At first, the street appeared completely empty and silent. Then, suddenly, a strange sound echoed through the area. Moments later, a translucent-looking figure rushed across the frame. At the exact same time, a nearby dog could be heard barking as the moment unfolded. Of course, poor camera quality and motion blur can absolutely make a normal person appear distorted or almost transparent at night. But honestly, the sound captured in the footage doesn't really seem like it came from someone simply running past, right? Whatever the camera recorded that night, it left many people replaying the footage over and over, trying to figure out what they had just seen. This man shared a disturbing experience that happened late one night inside their home. According to him, his wife was suddenly jolted awake after hearing her name being whispered in the darkness. Natasha. Confused and unsettled, she immediately checked the baby monitor. That's when she saw something that deeply disturbed her. Their son appeared to be standing in a strange, almost unresponsive state inside the room, as if he was focused on something they couldn't see. The man later explained that the child had already shown behavior in the past that made the family uneasy. often seeming to interact with something invisible inside the house. At first, they tried dismissing it as normal childhood imagination. But after the whispering incident, the family said the atmosphere inside the home began feeling different, heavier, almost like they were being constantly watched. And honestly, the timing of the whisper and the way the child was standing on the monitor really doesn't feel like a normal coincidence, does it? A home security camera in New Orleans, Louisiana recorded a strange moment at around 4 a.m. After receiving a motion alert, the homeowner quickly checked the live footage to see what was happening outside. That's when he saw a man wandering through his backyard. At first, the man appeared confused and frantic, but then, suddenly, he did this. The man seemed to panic and quickly tried hiding inside one of the garbage bins on the property. Not long afterward, it turned out he was being chased by police. Fortunately, authorities eventually managed to locate and detain him. The clip ended there with no further updates about what happened afterward, but thankfully, the homeowner remained safe during the incident. A restaurant owner shared security footage from inside his closed establishment that captured something late at night that still makes him uneasy. As he stepped outside and locked the front door, the camera suddenly showed what appeared to be a young girl near the entrance. She quickly ran up to the door, opened it, and then moved back inside before disappearing from view. According to the owner, the figure could not have been a real person, since he claimed he was the very last person to leave the building that night. He also explained that the restaurant had long been connected to local haunting stories, and that staff had previously reported seeing a girl in old-fashioned clothing, almost like something from the 19th century. But what made the footage even stranger was what happened when people later analyzed it using a thermal-style filter. The figure appeared to give off body heat like a normal person. And honestly, that raises an interesting question. People often describe paranormal encounters as cold spots or icy presences. So if this really was something paranormal, then how could it appear warm on a heat-based filter? That detail left many people more confused about what exactly was captured inside the restaurant that night. A home security camera captured a normal-looking moment outside a house late in the day. A person walked into frame, the motion sensor activated, and nearby cameras also picked them up as they crossed different angles around the property. As they reached the edge of the camera's view, something strange happened. The figure suddenly disappeared mid-motion, as if they had simply dissolved into the air. Was it just a camera glitch or post-production manipulation, or did something actually vanish in front of multiple cameras at once? Since no backstory was provided for the footage, it's hard to tell. When a family went out one morning for school, they found something unsettling on their front steps. Take a look at this photo. A set of bare footprints stretched across the steps, as if someone had walked there without shoes. The family explained they don't live in an area with a large homeless population, so it didn't make much sense to them. They were also certain the footprints didn't belong to anyone in the household, and they hadn't been there the day before. So the question remains, why would someone walk up to their house in the middle of the night, barefoot? A Facebook user shared a photo taken during a ghost tour in Savannah, Georgia, showing the staircase of an old home late at night. Savannah is already known for its long history of ghost stories and reportedly haunted locations, which made the image even more unsettling to the people who saw it. In the photo, something unusual appeared on the staircase that immediately caught their attention. A humanoid figure could be seen standing on the steps. Even though nobody remembered anyone being there at the time the picture was taken. Of course, some people weren't convinced at all and believed it was simply another visitor walking up the stairs at the exact wrong moment. But interestingly, others claimed they had seen similar stories connected to that same staircase, including reports where multiple photos taken only seconds apart allegedly showed figures appearing and disappearing near the bottom of the stairs. And honestly, That's what makes this image harder to completely dismiss for me. So with that being said, do you think this person may have actually captured something paranormal on that staircase? This footage was captured by a security camera and later shared online by TikTok user Paranormal Tops. The video showed a man standing alone on a quiet street late at night. At first, nothing seemed too unusual, but then the man appeared to be having a conversation with someone, gesturing and responding as if another person was clearly standing there with him. But in the security footage, only the man could be seen. There was no second person visible anywhere in the recording. According to the man, a stranger had approached him asking for directions to a nearby pine forest. He insisted the person had been standing right in front of him the entire time, and that the conversation felt completely normal. Of course, videos like this are obviously easy to fake online, but if he really was speaking to someone the cameras somehow didn't capture, then what exactly was standing there with him that night? A man was sleeping inside his house when he heard strange noises during the night. He didn't see anything at the time and eventually went back to sleep. The next morning, he noticed unusual dents on his front door, as if someone had tried to break in. Fortunately, whoever it was hadn't managed to get inside, but it's an unsettling feeling knowing the night could have turned out very differently. TikTok user Obulan Official shared home security footage after strange noises were heard late at night in their neighborhood. Throughout the recording, a series of loud, eerie wails echoed through the darkness. The sounds didn't clearly sound like any common animal. Many viewers compared the noises to the Pokong, a figure from Malay folklore sometimes nicknamed the Gula Gula because of its white-wrapped appearance. Others believed there was probably a more ordinary explanation, suggesting the cries may have come from an animal whose sounds became distorted by distance, echo, or the CCTV microphone itself. But if it really was just some local animal, wouldn't people living there have heard those sounds more often before? And with no figure ever appearing on camera, the only evidence left behind was the sound itself. So what do you think was making those disturbing noises in the darkness that night? A woman was heading upstairs to her room when she noticed something unexplainable on a window high up near the ceiling, almost 20 feet above the ground. On the outside of the glass were small human-like footprints, along with what looked like fingerprints pressed against the surface. It was almost impossible for anyone to get up there, and the positioning of the hands felt unnatural too. There's no real explanation for it, and it left the woman both flabbergasted and freaked out. In July 2012, the owners of Curiosite's vintage tea room in the UK received a motion alert long after the business had already closed for the night. The tea room was supposed to be completely empty. Worried that someone may have broken in, the owner quickly checked the security footage. That's when he saw this. The cameras appeared to show movement inside the tea room during the middle of the night. A pale, distorted figure could be seen moving through the room, its shape looking vaguely human, but impossible to clearly identify. According to the owners, there were no signs of forced entry afterward. Nothing inside the building had been stolen, and nobody was found there when the property was checked. But what makes the footage difficult to explain is the motion sensor had definitely been triggered, meaning something or someone had to be moving inside the tea room that night. A man who'd been experiencing strange things inside his home decided to set up a motion-activated camera to record anything unusual while he was away at work. One day, the camera suddenly activated and began slowly panning across the room as if it was tracking movement. At first, nothing unusual could clearly be seen, but as the camera turned back toward the doorway, something disturbing appeared near the doorframe. From the narrow gap between the door and the wall, a strange shape seemed to slowly form into view before suddenly disappearing again moments later. And honestly, this is the part that makes the footage even creepier to me. According to the homeowner, that gap was supposedly far too narrow for an actual person to fit through. So if that's true, then what exactly did the camera capture inside his house that day? A security camera from a home deep in the Appalachian Mountains captured something unusual late at night. In the footage, a dark figure suddenly appeared out of nowhere before moving across the deck in a smooth, almost floating motion. The movement looked strange enough that it immediately caught the homeowner's attention while reviewing the cameras later. According to her, she had never personally experienced any of the local stories involving strange sightings or unexplained encounters often connected to the Appalachian region. So seeing something like this on her own property genuinely shocked her. Of course, there could be ordinary explanations. Low light cameras, motion blur, shadows, or even insects close to the lens can sometimes create very strange looking footage at night. But honestly, considering the long history of eerie folklore and unexplained stories tied to the Appalachian Mountains, it's easy to see why footage like this unsettles people. So what do you think? Was this simply a camera distortion in the dark? Or could the homeowner really have captured something connected to those Appalachian legends? A resident living on the top floor of an apartment complex was sitting inside their room when they looked out the window and noticed something impossible.
God, guys. Oh my god!
A wooden door was rotating in midair, moving through the sky directly toward the building. Panicked, they dropped to the floor and waited for impact, but nothing ever came. When they looked up again, the door was gone. There was no sound, no damage, and no trace of it anywhere outside. But was that all really what was happening? Looking at the clouds, it could have been a stormy moment or something else entirely, like debris thrown by strong winds or an explosion in the distance. It's hard to believe it was just a random door flying through the sky. A backyard security camera captured strange movement in broad daylight. A dark shadow suddenly moved across the frame. Most similar reports usually happen at night when visibility is low and shadows are easier to misinterpret. But this appeared clearly during the day, with nothing around it that could easily explain the movement. I think it might just be a bug passing close to the camera, especially since the footage quality doesn't seem that great. But who knows? Maybe it is a ghost. A homeowner set up a camera inside their house facing the yard. One evening, it captured this. A dark, thick mass slowly moved past the window outside. At first, it looked like debris or a piece of black plastic being carried by the wind, staying low near the ground as it drifted by. But when the footage was slowed down, the movement didn't seem to match anything lightweight or random. The shape appeared too controlled. She posted it online, hoping others could explain it. Some suggested it might be a bird, seen from an unusual angle, but no one was completely sure. A home security camera captured a strange moment on a quiet porch when a crow landed on a chair outside a woman's house and began cawing repeatedly. A few seconds later, voices erupted from inside the house shouting, "Snake! Snake!" as a snake was spotted near the home. What made the clip stand out was the timing. The crow stayed in place right up until the moment the family reacted, then immediately flew away once the danger was noticed, almost as if the bird had been acting as a silent warning system. A couple had set up a camera in their bedroom to keep an eye on their baby during the night. One evening, the mother woke up to feed the child while her husband slept on the bed nearby. As she sat there holding the baby, the camera appeared to capture a small orb-like shape floating upward beside her. Moments later, a dark shadow appeared near the side of the bed where her husband was sleeping. Then it started moving in her direction. The woman covered her face with a cloth. She later said she felt uneasy during that moment, although she hadn't seen anything at the time. The next day, the couple reviewed the footage and noticed a figure. She was now sure her senses had been right all along. Something was really there. Now, for more doorbell encounters, let's watch this video.